Sick in bed, I dreamed that you showed up at my house. You were laughing as you woke me up by rubbing your bare feet on my face. At first I was mad that you would come all the way, you would drive all that way just to do such a thing to me. Then I was even madder when I realized you hadn't. This one's called An Errand. We were going to our family's house for dinner. I think it was her mother's birthday. I got her daughter ready, made sure her hair was brushed, gotten her into her jacket, gotten her into the car seat. As we drove across town toward the freeway north, she pulled to the curb in front of the bar. I looked at her blankly, uncomprehending. She looked me right in the eye and just said, "We're late, hurry up." I ran inside, the door closing behind me at tiny, rapid dusk. I told the bartender, "We're going to our mother's, let me have a shot." He smiled, filled a tumbler to the rim. Took it back and went swallow as I did, left $1 on the bar and trotted back out to the car. As we pulled out into the autumn afternoon sunlight, Sadie in her car seat, softly singing along with the radio, we didn't say a word. But I knew then that she loved me like she said she did. Don't worry, there's a lot of pages, but there's not that much on it. I'm not going to read that one. If you want to, it'll be here on the floor. This one is a poem about... I've been doing a lot of readings lately, so I don't know which is really cool. Thanks, John. Because of Jonathan. And I don't know whatever I wear, so... Anyway, this is a poem about the physical act of love. It's called I'd Say Oh My and a Boo-Hoo. It's not as good as Tony's, but... I learned to fuck from listening to Stooges records. When it's good, it's visceral, a little bit violent, kind of intimate brutality. As we lay on the mattress on the floor of my bedroom off the garage, she waved my smoke away and said, "Sometimes when we fuck, you slap my face. When you're doing that, what are you thinking about?" The implication seemed to be that some deep psychological force or misogyny or malice was at work. How could I explain that fucking is the only time there is no thinking? It's primitive, primal, strictly Wolfman time. When it's over, I'm back to Larry Talbot, self-conscious, baffled, neurotic. Once I start thinking, it's fucking over. Thinking is death to fucking. What does a mongoose think about as it kills a cobra? Does it bother you, I asked. Fuck no, she said. That said, I love you, Mom. That's my mom. She did a really good job, I swear. She tried really hard. This one's called 3 p.m. I wish I could describe the afternoon light that comes through my bedroom window every day as I read and doze. I wish I could describe the afternoon light, gray through the fog as the washed-out VHS tape of Eraserhead I watched as a kid. I wish I could describe the afternoon light, soft as the skin where your waist meets where your hips meet your waist, the skin on the inside of your thighs near your pussy, the skin where your neck meets your shoulder. I wish I could describe the afternoon light, quiet as the holding cell down at 850 with the double pane glass once I gave up the banging and the shouting. I wish I could describe the afternoon light, comforting as the trains by the freeway going beneath the overpass and into the tunnel, over and over, again and again. I wish I could describe the afternoon light, full moon over the orange groves for day in the city, my bed, Cronus's belly. I wish I could describe the afternoon light, but perhaps I'm just a lousy poet, or perhaps I became a poet too late. So, I really hate poems written in the second person addressed to the reader that like tell you to do stuff, because I think they're really pretentious and obnoxious. So I wrote one, so fuck you. Longing. It is a horrific mistake to want one thing in this world more than all other things. With enough ambition or rotten fucking luck, one day you might get it. Then you're really fucked. This one's called Reading Series. This is a new one, I wrote this like day before yesterday. whole reading series. Sitting in a dark cafe, sipping espresso and underlining passages in a book by a French philosopher and sociologist, about to get up for a poetry reading, I felt so pathetically, revoltingly bohemian, so very fucking precious, that I wanted to drag myself out in the alley and beat my own ass. True story. It's called The Very Mention of Your Name. The very thought of you used to be flannel sheets, but baby, now it's fucking bed bugs. Those motherfuckers do not quit, I tell you what. This one's called Tiffany's. So the Tenderloin is right on the edge of Union Square, and if you go down there, there's like the Tiffany's and the Macy's and all this really fancy shit, and then you walk like one block over, and it's this. I kind of love that. So this is called Tiffany's. I went into the Tiffany's on Union Square with my father. That's also him over in the corner there. He really likes it at the Tiffany's. Sometimes he dresses like a disgruntled Vietnam vet when we go in there. I love it. Anyway, so I went to the Tiffany's on Union Square with my father. It was crowded. Neil Young was the only other shabby-looking motherfucker in the joint. I was clearly the only one without money to burn. We went upstairs. The girl behind the counter looked at the rings through my ears, at the heavy ring hanging from my nose. "You look like you're good on jewelry," she said, and laughed nervously. I looked her up and down, looked her right in the eye. "What can you show me in stainless steel?" This one's called Traders. This is a new one too, that John said was good, so I'm reading. Lately he's been crying without weeping, with tears like ants or kamikaze pilots giving their lives for greater good. They appear suddenly from nowhere, drunken drivers around blind turns, at work by the sign that says "Open Trench" on Church and DuBose, buying a danger dog from those street vendors down on Mission Street when he's riding the bus. Never sobs, just tears. Began to happen more and more. It was embarrassing. He tried eye drops, even saw an optometrist. But still they came, always surprising him like landmines, betraying a past he could never quite remember. Alright. I ain't gonna read that one. We'll save you guys some time, just cut to the chase. This is called a poem about breaking and entering number 7. Just for time. I woke up on an overstuffed black leather couch, feeling like the last third of a 40-ounce taste, in an apartment I didn't recognize. An old man in a silk bathrobe was yelling at me. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" His face was turning red, a vein bulged in his forehead. His wife stood slightly beside him to the left. She was dressed lavishly, tastefully. She had a silk scarf fastened with a brooch from Tiffany's or some goddamn place. These were clearly rich people. Everything was spotless, perfectly placed, looked expensive. They probably had an interior decorator. Her face was calm, kind. "How did you get in here?" he screamed. Sitting up now, I gulped for air like a goldfish. "You don't know, do you, dear?" she said. "No, ma'am, I don't. Thank you so much for your hospitality," I blurted, and bolted up for the door. I was all the way down the hall in 3 improbable strides. I had to chuckle to myself as I stopped, walked slowly back, and knocked politely 3 times on their door. I had forgotten my shoes.